Initially, I thought that RAQ, when I saw the previews with Marvin, Press, and Lou, I thought it was going to be curtains for Lou. But as it turns out, that I guess there's still some loyalty amongst them. And I think part of it is that, as we come to realize, is that Lou was indeed drunk. And it's like this thing of him drinking, like I said, it's gonna cause so much problems for him. Where so far he's been talking to Scrappy's mom, and as RAQ expresses that they have to be concerned, like she meets up with Marvin, as they're going to start laying the groundwork for trying to build this relationship for selling out of these Chinese restaurants. And you can see that she's nervous, right? Marvin had been out in, I think it was Jersey or something like that, or wherever it was, visiting the guy from The Voice. And we actually saw more of Marvin, where this family dynamic between them. I know in the first season that Marvin wasn't really hitting on anything as a father. He was letting his feelings towards Jukebox's mom affect his relationship with Jukebox. But at the same time, we learned that Marvin had pretty much been taking care of RAQ and Lou from the time he was a kid, right? That their parents were on drugs or into whatever nonsense it was that they were into. And here you have it that, he started selling drugs at the age of 10 or 12 or something like that, and was basically a parent to RAQ and Lou, right? And it kind of gives you a different, what we've seen of him since he went to counseling and stuff in the second season is the change in his relationship with Jukebox, right? But then also here we see he goes to see the guy from The Voice and finds, the guy's two little girls out in the car while he's inside possibly shooting up or whatever it was that he was doing. Like, he opens the door and he's got track marks and stuff like that, needle marks all on his arms. And you see it that Marvin immediately steps in. He shows concern for the girls. He steps in, he brings them inside. It looks like he makes them like a snack or lunch or whatever it is. And he's like sweet and nurturing, and it's like super dad with the kids. And then we see him meet up with RAQ, and like their whole family dynamic comes into play, right? You see this sweet, nurturing, caring side of Marvin, and it's like it's not mentioned directly, but it's like it put me in the mind of, you can imagine this was the role that he played when he was a kid, right? With his parents being strung out on drugs. And you see the compassion that he shows for these little girls, likely because we haven't seen it, but from the backstory that's been built, that was probably his reality as a kid growing up. His parents being a mess and into nonsense and stuff like that. We know that he doesn't really deal with his mom like that, and it's just interesting to see that dynamic, and then to see the rest of their family issues, their family dysfunction play out, where I guess you still give RAQ credit because she doesn't go to see Lou, right? She sends Marvin to go talk to him. And Marvin, like, he hems him up, yes, but he talks to him for the most part, right? Like, he doesn't really beat him up. He doesn't kill him or anything like that, which is what I thought they might do. Instead, they put the responsibility on him for him to hold himself accountable and to clean up the mess that he's created. And so that means him going and dealing with Scrappy's mom. Now, as part of this, we see like Lou is really just spiraling with the alcohol. It seemed like for a moment he caught himself when he was back in the mix with Jukebox and whatnot, and him being involved with the club and all of that. But it's like he keeps falling off the wagon, and you see what a mess it's making of his life. So we see him and Marvin go to Scrappy's mom's house for Lou basically to silence her. And even at that, despite him and his drinking causing this problem, right? To the point where like he was so drunk that he didn't even remember going to talk to Scrappy's mom. Granted, I don't think that the actor is doing the greatest job of playing like a drunk person. You know, it seems... Anyway, the portrayal is a little hokey, let's say. But, he shows up at Scrappy's mom's house with Marvin, and the expectation is he's going to go in and kill her. And we know that this isn't something that he wants to do. He doesn't want to be involved in that aspect of the street life. He doesn't really want to be involved with the street stuff at all. But again, it's this thing of them and their actions, him specifically, his actions trying to get away from the streets, but allowing it to pull him in even deeper, to pull him back. So it's like you're out of it, but then you take it upon yourself to go and speak to Scrappy's mom, and you now put her in danger. It's like he wasn't really responsible for Scrappy, but he's completely responsible for this situation with Scrappy's mom. You know? And it's like I felt for her, because it's like, who wouldn't be upset at their child being murdered? You know, but as a result of Lou and the way that he went about revealing this to her, he put the woman's life in danger, and ultimately he was the one that ended up having to kill her, or being tasked with killing her. Just, like, I felt for her, man. Like that was one of the people that they put down that I felt, I understand the why, but it was like, even with her snitching and everything, it's like that was her son, you know, and I feel like there should have been a different way. But I mean, what could you tell a mother to make her not want justice for her murdered son? You know, I don't think there would be any reasoning with her. You know, unfortunate situation. And it's like, I was never like the biggest fan of Lou. I didn't dislike him or like really, really like him in the first season. But it's like, at the same time that I've grown to increasingly like Marvin, because I thought Marvin was just, like, he just messed everything up the first season, but I've really grown to like him as a character since the second season. And it's like, it's been the reverse with Lou. Like, as time goes by, I just find myself being more and more annoyed with him. I understand why he's upset, but it's like his way of handling this is just, you know, I don't know. He just seems a mess. And it's like, again, you know, the whole family dynamic thing, you know, and this thing of Kanan possibly being in over his head, where it's like he's gotten into business with these people because he thinks it makes him a man, right? But really deep down inside is that he's trying to prove something to RAQ, you know, that he doesn't need her, that, you know, he's a man. But it's like he's doing this for his mom yet still. You know, so it's like he might be trying to get away from her and whatnot, but it's like she's still got control over him, you know, because she's still, without even doing anything to him directly, she's still controlling his actions, right? Making him make moves with her in mind, although subconsciously, right? Pretty insightful comment from Jukebox. You know, that's like the thing that I like about the Jukebox character. Like, she sees everyone for what they are, you know, and has like, she has the head on her shoulders that I think Kanan wishes he had, you know. And it's telling that we see Ronnie looking on, and Ronnie basically, after Jukebox leaves, asks Kanan if, you know, he wants him to speak to Jukebox, meaning to deal with Jukebox as he's done with the courier guy and partially with Famous. And Kanan, kind of feeling himself a little bit and not really knowing who Ronnie is, you know, tells Ronnie that, like, you know, basically don't go anywhere near his family. And the reality is, if Ronnie decided to, what could Kanan really do? You know, I don't think, and that goes back to this thing of Kanan not having a really good lay of the land, kind of being in over his head, and thinking that he'll be able to control Ronnie if him and Ronnie are at odds, or if Ronnie decides he wants to do A and Kanan thinks he should do B. There's no reason as to why he should assume he'd be able to control Ronnie, or he has any kind of sway over him.
Thanks for tuning in. To ensure you don't miss any episodes, subscribe to the channel,